Welcome back to Understanding Residential Permit Drawings. In this video, we're going to talk about schedules, specifically door and window schedules. There's all different kinds before we get into door and window schedules, just wanted to let you know that there are all different kinds of schedules. So on a commercial set of drawings, very often we'll have finished schedules. There's going to be door and window schedules. There's going to be a lot of information on those. So there could be a lot of different things included in the schedules. This is a very basic set of drawings, set of permit drawings, and in this case we're just going to have a basic door schedule and a basic window schedule. So if we take a closer look at those, I'll just zoom in here and take one more zoom. If I look at these, my door schedule contains a few different pieces of information. First of all, we have a mark. That mark is the door number. It corresponds to the different plan views or elevation views. So we'll use this one as an example, since we have that right here on this page. Door number 6 looks like a single door with a light. And if we come down here, exterior half glass or single light. They call glass indoors lights a lot of times. So this door is 32 inches by 80 inches. And that's really all the information that we have for that door. Down here we also have some notes. All door head height of 80 inches. So you can see that here. That means the top of the door is 80 inches high. And you can see if we jump over to this window schedule, you also see that for this. All window head height of 80 inches. So the tops of the windows line up with the tops of the doors, and that's a very common practice in residential construction, unless we have some different situations going on. So we also have a couple notes down here. Exterior doors with 50% or less glass U value. And U value is basically the inverse of the R value. So R value is the resistance to heat transfer. It's a thermal property of different materials and how well it resists heat transfer. So an example, insulation would have a high R value, which would be good, and something like steel or stone or brick is going to have a very low R value, which is not going to resist heat transfer. So that's bad for energy efficiency. So if I have a high R value, that's good. So the inverse, the U value, should be low. So the lower the better for the U value. So in this case, 0.27 or less for exterior doors with 50% or less glass. So if I have a lot of glass, or greater than 50%, the glass U value must be 0.3 or less. So that pretty much wraps up the door schedule. The only other thing we wanted to make note of is in the type here we just have a very quick, easy breakdown of what the door types are. A lot of times you can see this kind of information within the floor plans or the elevations. So the other part of this is whenever the contractor is going to go through and work with the owner and pick out actual doors, and then they're going to use the rough opening sizes for specific manufacturers, what their recommendations are for installations. So all they have to do is get a door that's close to 72 by 80 inches or 6 feet by 80 inches for this exterior French full glass door. So moving over to the window schedule, very similar. We have a mark which indicates what windows we're looking at. So we'll go find a window and do that in plan view. So if I look, this window down here, window number 2, looks like a double unit right there. This one over here is window number 1, and then which is a double unit also, and then a single unit number 1 here. So if we go back to our schedule, zoom in on that again. Number one is a double hung, that's the type of window, and this is the manufacturer and the model number, 200 series window. We have the size of a 36 by 42, and this is the actual model number of the window. So number two, the big difference between this is it's a slightly bigger size. It's 54 inches high instead of 42 inches high, and it's typically the width comes first and then the height. And this window is going to be egress compliant, which basically means that it meets all the requirements for egress or escape, emergency escape from the building through the window. So some other notes here, we have some U-value information for the windows as well, and this may or may not have changed with the current code. The code that was followed through this project was 2009 International Residential Code, and what happens a lot of times are these U values or R values become more stringent as the years go on, and basically require manufacturers to come up with more energy efficient products. So I'm not sure if this 0.3 is what is required now, but it is what was required in 2009 for the 2009 code. Alright, so all windows double pane with low E, which stands for low emissivity on both sides of the glass, inside and the outside. And this is argon filled, which is a thermal insulating gas that's between the two panes of glass. And the emissivity basically blocks out some parts of the spectrum of light, so we won't have not going to be losing energy through the windows, or the amount of energy that's lost through the windows can be reduced. And the last note, this factory mold assemblies as shown in plan. So the factory mold assemblies, that would be what we were talking about previously in this case. So these two windows, they're individual units that I would purchase, but whenever I purchase them from the manufacturer, they're going to be assembled together at this point as one individual unit. That's why whenever I dimension to this, 15 feet 7 inches from the outside corner to the center of the window, I'm not dimensioning to this center and that center, because this is considered to be one individual unit, one window unit. So really the last thing that we want to talk about with the schedules is look at the plan view, and the doors and windows are typically going to be shown on this new work plan with the numbers. So we can see we have number 10, we have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the different doors throughout this project. Those correspond to the ones that are in the schedule, and the same thing with the windows. So that pretty much wraps up all the information that we need to cover for door and window schedules. In the next video, in video 7, we'll talk about the cover sheet and do a quick summary of the project or the set of drawings.